Hey, what's up guys? Oxide back from Elite Delta Gamers, and as you can see from the title, today's topic is going to be actually pretty interesting because I think I've put the pieces together on Halo 5. Now, to explain our absence over the past couple of weeks, I was having some computer issues, got a couple of viruses, I did that taken care of, but now it's done, I'm good to go, and we should be uploading weekly, so you guys should always have something to enjoy from us. If you enjoy it, and hopefully you do. But anyways, for the gameplay, it's not really that important. It's just for the background. It's one game of Big Team Infinity Slayer on Exile, and then a Ricochet game. And in both games, I ended up doing, I think, pretty well. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Like I said, it's just for the background. But on to the topic. Now, nobody has much of an idea of what Halo 5 is going to be about. Nobody knows how it's going to go after the end of Halo 4. We don't know if the Didact's dead or alive. We know Cortana's gone. And from the trailer, we don't know where Master Chief is, and we don't know what's going to happen to him. Not to mention the big bird thing coming out of the sand. That's kind of a big deal, too. But anyways, I think I've figured out. And to figure this out, you kind of have to go back a little bit in the previous games. It's not all. You're not going to find all the clues just in Halo 4. It's not that simple. So, just to start off, and I'm sure a lot of you already know about this, there are several songs from the soundtracks in the Halo games that if you reverse them and sped them up by about 25%, you could hear very audible voices. That there are kind of secret subliminal messages left by even Bungie, because it was Halo 2 and Halo 3, that kind of left just interesting clues. So anyways, those songs are from the Mausoleum Suite from Halo 2, the Gravemind from Halo 3, and Black Tower from Halo 3. Like I said, if you reverse them and speed them up by 25%, you hear voices. Now, there's multiple ideas where these voices are, who these voices are. Most people just announce it as something random, just kind of a nice little Easter egg for people to find out, and just, yeah. But I think that's something more. Some other people agree with me, and frankly, I don't think people have really put the pieces together on this yet. So anyways, who I think it is I think it's Mendicant Bias. Now, if you don't know who Mendicant Bias is, back in the Forerunner saga of books anyways, he was a Contender class AI, one of the most powerful AI ever made by the Forerunners, and basically what he did, his job was to just destroy the Flood. Now, he ended up talking to a Gravemind for like 200 years, and then what happened was that he ended up working with the Flood and trying to destroy the Forerunners. However, another AI was made to kind of just go again, to pretty much take him out and destroy the Flood, which is just doing his job, and he did. Mendicant Bias was defeated and the Flood was pushed back, but they decided to activate the Halo Array. So, anyways, that's the story of Mendicant Bias. And another thing is that if you also reverse the terminals in Halo 3, you also hear voices. And like I said, I think it's all Mendicant Bias. And the last terminal in Halo 3, that was actually, you can tell easily, it's Mendicant Bias. He's just taking over the terminal to try and speak to the Chief. He said that, "You will be my example," which is a big clue to Halo 5, which kind of also makes me think that Bungie had at least somewhat of a clue of what the story of the next trilogy would be, which I think is kind of mind-blowing. And you guys might not have the same opinion, so, whatever. But anyways, yeah, the terminal's reversed, and with the songs, it's a lot to put together. Now, if you also look from on Waypoint, there's a video on, I think it was unlocked by a code that gave you XP in Halo 4, and it's the Rebirth video, and it gives you a description of Mendicant Bias. Now, what it says is, "Two massive angular arms rising from the pedestal on the desert sands." Now, we've all seen the Halo 5 trailer, right? Well, everybody was confused by what that thing was, just rising out of the sand, and what the Chief was going to do. So basically, I believe that Master Chief is on the Ark. You're going to be saying like, "Oh no, how do you know this? What? You're lying. No, it's a conspiracy." But no, honestly, I think I've put it together. If you look at pictures of the Ark near the center of it, there's a reddish kind of planet just in the middle. You can see it, a good picture of it in Halo 3. And if you look in the trailer up in the sky, it's also a large red kind of burned out planet. And if you look around that area from pictures of the Ark, you actually can see it's mostly desert, kind of like how the mission The Ark in Halo 3. And you could be wondering, well, how was Master Chief on the Ark? The Ark was destroyed. That's actually wrong. Cortana said at the end of Halo 3 that when the Halo ring fired, it did a number on the Ark. It did damage to it, but it was never destroyed. So it's still intact. Some of the systems might still be intact, which means they could be used, and the Ark could still be inhabitable. Now, it also said in the Rebirth video that Mendicant Bias, he was stored on the Ark. So, let's go over what we have so far. We know that the voices in the soundtracks and in the terminals was Mendicant Bias trying to direct Chief to the Ark, basically, because he was leaving clues for him all along the campaigns, which in Halo 3 eventually led him to the Ark. But then, everybody knows some shit went down, and things got real, and yeah. Basically, Mendicant Bias just led Chief to the Ark. And then possibly he also led him to Requiem, because he was talking about defeating his former master, the Didact. Now I just want to clear this up. There is actually two different Didacts. There's the Didact and the ISO Didact. With the Didact is the original Didact. That's also the one you fought in Halo 4 who was against you. Now, I don't know if you guys have read the Forerunner Saga of books, but it's actually really great, and it gives you a lot of backstory, so I would highly recommend go to read those. They're great books, and very entertaining to read. But what happened is, they were building, the leader of the Forerunners was trying to build a Halo array, that way they could deal with the Flood, and the Didact, the original Didact, disagreed with this, and he thought he was going to be put to death for it. So he cloned his memories onto how it works is builders. They're called builders. They're at the top of the Forerunner social structure, and basically they're the top dogs. They pretty much make all the decisions. So there was a child, Forerunner named Born Stellar, and he ended up awakening the Didact. I know it sounds like a lot like Halo 4, but hang on, I'll get there. He ended up awakening the Didact, and the Didact himself ended up imprinting his memories onto Born Stellar. So eventually, Born Stellar, when he was growing up, he grew up to be the more warrior class of Forerunners. So he was like halfway between the builders, the top guys, the leaders of the Forerunners, and the soldiers of the Forerunner army. Like the Didact, if you guys don't know, is the commander of all the Prometheans. And Prometheans in the Halo 4, those aren't the actual Prometheans. They were just the guys they left behind. The actual Prometheans were Forerunners, and the ones in Halo 4, they're just called Prometheans because there's no actual Prometheans left. So, anyways, that's that. And so Chief's on the Ark looking for Mendicant Bias. And he's he just faced off with the Didact, don't know if he's dead. And with the ISO Didact gone, because he activated the Halo array, the Didact we don't know if he's alive. At the end of Halo 4, he fell into the slip space portal. And frankly, I'm pretty sure he's not dead. He's too big of an enemy just to send off with one game. He's pretty much the focus of the entire trilogy as antagonist. So chances are he's going to be back. And I think the Chief also knows this, because while a human may not survive, his body going into a slip space portal, we don't know a lot about Forerunners. They could have easily just taken it like it was nothing. But now, anyways, aside from that, is that, yeah, like I said earlier, he's gonna come. He's too big just to kind of cast away now. So with the Didact coming back, we know that Chief is gonna want some revenge. The Didact ended up killing Cortana. Well, I guess she would have gone down anyways, but Chief had a chance of at least getting her some help with being on the Infinity and being close to Earth, but the Didact kind of ruined that for him. He just destroyed Cortana, and while you can hear the voices of Cortana, that was like fragments left of her, which I'm not really sure how that works. that's a whole different story. There was fragments left of her, but the chip is gone. There is no chip. You could, like, it was, what do you call it? You know, destroyed when the Didact zapped the little pedestal that she was in. So Cortana's chip is gone, and that leads to the question: so what was the chip that Master Chief was carrying in his hand in the Halo 5 trailer? He was using as a dog tag. We know that he's gone rogue. We know that he's going to want revenge against the Didact. So who else does not like the Forerunners? Guess what? It's Mendicant Bias, because he helped at least try to destroy the Forerunners once. It's not insane to think that he'll try it again. So just to recap, Master Chief is on the Ark, and he's pretty pissed off at the Didact. He knows he's still alive, though, and he's still at large. So he needs help, because he doesn't have an AI to help him against the Didact. So who can this be? They can be Mendicant Bias. And what's that chip? What's that chip for? It's for Mendicant Bias. It's not Cortana's chip. He's not searching for Cortana, because Cortana's gone. But that chip he's going to get Mendicant Bias to help him. Who knows how. But Mendicant Bias, you can tell that Mendicant Bias does want to help the Chief. It's just the messages in the terminals, it's pretty easy to see. So Mendicant Bias will help the Chief against the Didact, and they're pretty much going to just go after the Didact, and the Chief is going to want some revenge for the Didact taking Cortana away from him. So that explains the chip. So just to recap all of this, to recap everything, the songs in the soundtrack were Mendicant Bias leading Chief to the Ark. Chief will awaken Mendicant Bias and use him against the Didact. So pretty much that's what I think is going to be the campaign in Halo 5, and just thinking about it, I'm really stoked. I can't wait. I love the campaigns in games. I think it's a really important part, and I think Halo has some of the greatest campaigns ever. So it's going to be great. Now, I want to thank you guys for watching, for sticking through this long. This has been Oxeye from Elite Delta Gamers. Thank you for watching. I know you guys have heard this 100 times before, or 1,000 times, but please like and subscribe. We'll see you guys later.